How's it going? Wednesday, August 28th, 2024. I'm covering Tris Speaker, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest hitters of all time. As far as greatest player, he can be ranked in the top 20 or 25. But as far as the greatest hitter of all time, I've got him in my top 5. I don't know what number. I know Ty Cobb's number 1, greatest hitter of all time, 366, 4,189 career hits. Who's number 2, 3, 4, 5? I don't know, but Tris Speaker is there. Why? 345 career batting average, 22 years, and 3,514 career hits. Where do you rank him? I'm covering every season he played, and I'm looking at every box score he produced. This video, 1920 season, and it was spectacular, splendid, stellar. Why? 150 games, 552 at bats, and he gets 137 runs scored. That is the first time since 1907 he came into the league. The very first time. I'm going to look at it. He has the most runs scored. That was what I was debating. Was this the season where he had the most runs scored? He scored 100 runs. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th time. But I was wondering, that's why I paused, sorry. I was wondering, was this the highest? 137 runs scored is the highest season for Tris Speaker. That's why I said the season was spectacular. How about 214 hits? That's not the most. He's done 200 hits. This is the 3rd time. He had a 222 hit season back in 1912. Then he had a 211, 1916. So 1920, he goes for 214. How about 50 doubles? That's the second time, 50 or more. His high so far is 53 doubles. Of course, we know he holds the record. 792 career doubles. He gets 50 in 1920. 11 triples, 8 homers, 107 RBIs. Guess what? The very first season for him with 100 or more runs batted in. He had some 90s. Looking over here, he had 2 seasons where he had over 90. This is the first time 100 or more, 107. 10 stolen bases, 97 walks, 388 batting average. He was up to 400, and he had a good stretch for about, I think, 8 weeks in a row. He was over 400. But he slipped toward the end, ends up 388. How about that? That is the highest so far. He had a 383 in 1912. He had a 386 1916. And now in 1920, he goes 388. His 3rd time over 380. And it's not a fluke. Because he played 150 games. 552 at bats. Maintains 388. How about that? 483 on base, 562 slugging, 310 total bases. That's the second time he's over 300. He had a 329 in 1912 as far as total bases. 310. Very good. He had a 13-game hitting streak, 70 multi-hit games, 2 or more hits. 45 2-hit games. 18 3-hit games, 3 4-hit games. He had 1 5-hit game. 27 games, 2 runs scored. 5 games, 3 runs scored. He had one game where he scored 4 runs. 17 games, 2 RBIs. 11 games, 3 RBIs. Now listen to this. By some strange day on the ball field, he had a 7 RBI game. How about that? Tris Speaker, not known for his RBIs, but he had 7 RBIs. When did he do that? Let's look it up. When did he get a 7 RBI game? He did it on May 1st, 1920. He had 5 at-bats, 1 run scored, 4 hits, 7 RBIs. He had a homer and 3 singles. Tris Speaker, one of the greatest hitters of all time. Very underrated. When you talk about ball players from the past, how often do you bring up the name Tris Speaker? Very rarely. You talk about Ruth, Gehrig, Williams, Hornsby, Fox, Cobb. Talk about all these guys. How about Tris Speaker? I'm looking at him. What a player. Here's another thing that happened in 1920. He had 552 at-bats and struck out 13 times. Incredible. Contact hitter. 97 walks. Let's see. Got hit by the pitch 5 times. So that's 102 free passes. He has 552 at bats, strikes out 13 times. Let's do this. 552 at bats. 552. You minus 97 and 5. That's 102. 97 walks, 5 hit by pitches. That's 450. 450 at bats. You minus 13 times where he struck out. Would you believe that in 437 at bats, Tris Speaker got 214 hits? So we'll minus that. 223 times he put the ball in play and made it out, but 214 of those times, or 2 plus 214, were the hits that he had that year. Here's my main point. 13 strikeouts and over 500 at-bats. Over 430 times he made contact. What a player. 1920, what a year for Tris Speaker. Okay, I'm done with this video. Next video, 1921, we're going to go through all the way to 1927 where he retires at age 40. And then I'm going to do a recap. And I'm going to rank this guy as far as among the greatest hitters of all time. So far, I have Ty Cobb, number 1, 366, 4,189 at-bats. Who's number 2? As far as hitting, you got to have the average. You got to have the career hits. You got to have enough years played. You got to look at how many times you struck out. You got to look at how many doubles, triples. Now the homers is where Tris Speaker has a flaw. Only 117 in 22 years. He should have had 300 homers. Why not? Plays that long. That's a flaw. And the RBIs were low for 22 years. He had 1,500. So, do we combine all that? As far as the greatest players of all time, you got to look at homers, RBIs, batting average, career hits, on base, slugging on, and total bases. You got to look at all those things. You can rank the greatest players of all time all around. Aaron, Mays are in there. Ruth, Williams, Fox, Gehrig, as far as greatest players. But how about just hitting? Combining your batting average, career hits, and then the on base, and the doubles, and the singles, and the triples. Look at the homers, too. I don't know where I'm going to put Tris Speaker. He could be number 2, 3, 4, or 5. I got to look at Hornsby. He had a 358 career batting average, right? Got to look at some of these other guys. Ted Williams, 344. But you know, Tris Speaker beat him out, 345. He had more career hits. Williams about 2,700 hits, right? 26, 2,700 hit, 26 or 2,700. I don't know the exact number. Speaker, I know that number, 3,514. And a 345 average. You got to consider it. All right, 1921 will be the next video. Talk to you later. I'm out.